So you call it cryptic.
I am quite amused that the Kenyan flag was put up because this conference is holding, this boot camp is holding.
Oh, it's no longer cryptic.
Well,
now you have more.
well,
Okay.
I have been furnished with more information now, and it's a senior.
Decrypted. It's okay.
It's a leadership boot camp, and it's going to hold in Kenya, even though the brain behind it all is a Nigerian that goes by the name Abiola Salami. He's the convener of the Dr. Abiola Salami International Leadership Bootcamp. Good morning, Dr. Salami.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be here.
Well, I did ask you the question before we came on air, why you're taking this bootcamp to Nairobi. Why not hold it in Nigeria?
Or is it some kind of export? Okay, so it's not an export. Okay. It's because of our commitment is African-wide. Okay. Since 2012, that we started CHAMP, the organization that has been involved in engaging leaders, equipping them to deliver peak performance in the work that they do. We've done a lot of, we've delivered a lot of interventions, in Nigeria. And we're saying that for us to really fully harness what the continent offers, it is important that we extend beyond Nigeria and engage our brothers and sisters in other parts of Nigeria, other parts of Africa. And we're starting in East Africa, in Nairobi, Kenya. So that's why the bootcamp is holding there. And Kenya is a great place, by the way, so that's why the bootcamp is holding there.
And why is it that you have been quoted as saying leadership performance is under threat? Why do you say that?
Great question. Leadership performance is under threat, especially in 2023, for a number of reasons. Number one, there are leaders who are doing a great job, but they are stressed. The demands, the expectations of leadership performance continues to increase.
I think every leader should be stressed.
And
if they're leading properly.
If they're leading properly. Not necessarily that they should be stressed, because stress is not necessarily an indicator of performance. But at times with unrealistic expectations from people, because at times the people want the leader to do and deliver what they probably know that it's impossible, but because they just think you're the one sitting there, so make this happen. So some leaders are stressed. That doesn't take away responsibility from leaders, by the way. Some leaders are overly stressed. Some are delivering mediocre performance, because their understanding of responsibility is pointing fingers to other people instead of you in the office, delivering excellence. Because leadership is not all about position. It is about disposition. Position is you're the chief executive, maybe of the state, of the country, of the organization. Disposition is you have the leadership traits, the skills to deliver performance in that role that you are. So leadership performance is under threat because we have leaders in roles who don't have enough leadership education to help them to deliver on the expectations of their office, on the expectations of the people that they lead as well. So it is important for us to continue to provide platforms and opportunities for leaders to learn, to relearn, to unlearn. And this has nothing to do with the number of years this leader has been in a leadership position. The fact that you've been in a leadership position for many years does not mean you have leadership experience.
Okay. Doesn't that also question the leadership recruitment process? Leadership recruitment process. If we find a leader in office who isn't supposed to be there, having not been unable to demonstrate these things that you say, doesn't that put a question mark on the process of leadership recruitment?
Great question. Now, our own commitment, is in finding the solution to this. So, do we query the leadership process? Yes. Can the leadership recruitment process be improved? Yes. And we say that even if you have dotted your I's, you've crossed your T's to make sure that the person you think, and please let us know, the person we think will perform excellently in the role, even when we have found that person, it is still important for the person to be educated, to have leadership education. And when we say education, we're not necessarily talking about private school, secondary school, undergrads, for the person to still be educated, which is why we're saying that it's not even about the number of years you've spent in a particular position at a particular time, because when changes happen concurrently, changes happen consistently, and it's important for the leader to continue to learn, to continue to grow, if that leader wants to continue to deliver excellence in the work that they do. Whether we're talking about this leader in the private sector organization, or we're talking about that leader as an entrepreneur, somebody that started a business and then you are now making money. The fact that you are making money doesn't necessarily mean that you have the requisite skills to sustain the success that you've recorded, right? So whether it's in private sector, in public sector, in social sector, it is important that if we want leaders to deliver excellence, leaders must continue to commit to consistent leadership education.
You said something earlier. Would you blame the Nigerian for expecting a lot of their leaders, especially at this time?
Great question. We should expect a lot from our leaders. We should expect our leaders to perform. We should expect our leaders to show us tangible results. We should expect our leaders to show us this is the problem we're in, and this is how to get us off the problem.
Yeah.
So there is an expectation of leaders to deliver results, and not propaganda-laced results, but true, visible, touchable, feelable results. Yes. There's also on the other part of the role of the citizen, the Nigerian himself, because the first process to change is not to expect the leaders to deliver on a particular mandate. The first process is even you as a citizen as well, that you take civic responsibility, to contribute yours as you expect leaders to contribute theirs.
This sounds like that sounds a lot like transformational leadership that you're talking about. So, what actually inspired this whole conversation about, driving transformational leadership for you?
It is because we need change. And by change, we're talking about improvement. We need improvement, and we need leaders who are equipped enough to move us from that state we are into a better state. And this movement is not only as a nation, which is the CEO of the nation. This movement, this transformation is at every strata. Right, so whether it's somebody in the local government, someone at the state level, that's public sector and governance, whether it's in private sector, somebody that's starting, you have a business of 10 people as your staff, or 10,000 people as your staff, it is important for leaders to have that skill that they can transform their result, that they can deliver peak performance, that they can transform, they can change the culture of their organization, that they can lead with courage, that they can cultivate empathy, that they can help their people grow. You see, the biggest thing about leadership is not even just about delivering results. The biggest thing about leadership is working with your people to groom them to become better with the task at hand to deliver a result.
That raises the question of, because if you have to work with people, there has to be some kind of connection. And I think that's one of the things that, prove me wrong if I am, that has to do, that borders on emotional intelligence in leadership. You wrote a book on
The magic of emotional intelligence.
Tell us about that and how it impacts on leadership.
Okay, so the magic of emotional intelligence orients leaders to be people-focused and not just results-driven. Now, are we saying that leaders should not pursue results? No. We're saying that the leader should understand that it is the people that help you to deliver on these results. So you are not always focused on just the results. Rather, you are focused on the people, to groom the people. Because when they are competent enough, and when they have that feeling that this leader cares about them, they are at their best. So you get better results. The magic of emotional intelligence orients leaders that the first thing about leadership is not just about you leading people, but the beginning of true leadership is self-leadership, self-control, that you can lead yourself effectively. And the magic of emotional intelligence, we can break it down into 4 things. One is self-awareness, which is that as a leader, you know and understand yourself. You know and understand your strengths and your areas of improvement. You know and understand something really powerful, your triggers, the triggers of your emotions. What triggers anger in you as a leader? What triggers even fear in you as a leader? What triggers courage in you as a leader? What triggers positive emotions and negative emotions as a leader? That you understand that, and you don't use your office to justify toxicity. You know, that you can understand that. And of course, that's self-awareness. The other bit is self-management, which is by virtue of what you know about yourself, you can choose what you say and what you do in order to achieve your goal. That you are mindful of what you say to your team members based on the goal at hand. That you are mindful about how you comport yourself, how you conduct yourself, so that you ensure that it doesn't get in the way of your goal.
If you have told us all of this, what are we going to do in Nairobi?
Great question you've asked. Because what I'm saying now is that things to know. It is how to know it. That is what you get to know in Nairobi.
Okay.
So how do you gain self-awareness? You get to know it in Nairobi. How do you gain self-management? You get to know it in Nairobi. Another very important point, empathy. That says seek first to understand before you are understood. That says we should use our ears more than we use our mouth, even as a leader. There is the temptation, because you've been around for 10 years, 15 years on the roll, that you assume you have all the experiences.
Will this thing that you say, you know the leadership structure, or no, not structure, leadership culture in Africa? Paternal, hierarchical, monarchical. Is there anything in the Nairobi 2023 DASIL Bootcamp about addressing the leadership culture of Africa that hasn't really encouraged some of these things you said?
Right. One of the things you have said earlier is this conversation is about transformational leadership. And the beginning of transformation is actually speaking to culture. The part of culture that is not helping us to be who we are meant to be. The part of the culture that is not making African leaders as competitive, as we should be. The drawbacks on patriarchy, the drawbacks on the hierarchical structure that may kill the potential of some people, especially the leadership in the middle, right, that can kill their potential because there's an assumption that the person at the top knows everything, gives direction. Because what leaders in Africa, one of the things we will see at that boot camp is to orient leaders, letting them understand that your idea is not enough to run the enterprise. Your instruction is not enough. Your thoughts are not enough. How do you leverage the people you are leading? How do you leverage them and get the very best out of them? So the beginning of transformation is speaking to culture, and then we will really deal with that.
There must be many aspiring leaders who are watching us today who would like to transform this nation. Because truth be told, this nation needs transformation, whichever way we look at it. So where should they think of starting from? Are they the kinds of people that you want at this boot camp?
Okay, so this boot camp is for senior leaders.
Oh, senior.
Yes,
okay, all right.
It's for senior leaders.
Not beginners, not beginners.
However, for beginners. However, I read something some years ago that there's a quote. There's a quote, and the man said that when I was young, I wanted to change the world. I discovered that I couldn't change the world. So I thought, okay, let me limit it to my country. Then I tried to change my country.
No.
I didn't achieve much success. Then I said, let me limit it to my village. Then I tried to limit it to my village. Then I didn't make much success until I discovered that the transformation I can deliver is the transformation of myself. So for the aspiring leaders out there who want to transform this nation, the beginning of national transformation is personal transformation. And the better you are as that individual leader, the better you can get to transform the nation when you have the opportunity to. So the beginning of this is for you to focus on yourself, developing yourself, ensuring that you don't become the problem in future that you are complaining about today. There are many people today who are in positions all around who the way they got into position is by criticism and condemnation. Because maybe sincerely, many years ago, they did not like what they were seeing and they wanted a change. But when they got into the office, they are no better than those that they condemned and criticized because they didn't pay attention to their personal transformation. And they now got into office and they're perhaps worse than those they were criticizing.
Okay, now you are going to answer 6 questions in response to this. 6 questions.
In 3 minutes.
Who, what, where, when, why, and how of this DASIL Bootcamp in Nairobi.
Okay, so we've been saying DASIL. DASIL is Dr. Abiola Salami International Leadership Bootcamp.
I was looking for the acronym and I found it. So.
Okay. And it's for senior leaders in private sector organizations, in public sector organizations, and for politicians as well. Very senior leaders. And why are we doing this? Is to help them to drive transformation in the organizations that they lead. It is holding in Nairobi, Kenya, from the 25th to 28th of October. That is next week. 25th to 28th of October, that's next week. Leaders will be gaining insights on emotional intelligence, how to use that to drive transformation. It's a great opportunity for leaders to relearn, whatever it is that they know before. It's an opportunity to relearn. It's an opportunity to rejuvenate as well. We talked about stress earlier. It's an opportunity to rejuvenate. It's an opportunity to re-strategize, just to have some tools that can help them to rethink how they lead and how they can better position themselves to be a greater leader than they are today.
You have not answered how. How do they? Is there a website that you go to register or something?
Okay, fantastic. So all you need to do, you send us a mail. It's hello@abiolachamp.com. hello@abiolachamp.com. And then we'll get across to you.
A champ is from champion.
From
right?
champion, yes.
Abiola.
Hello.
CHAMP.com.
Yes.
So hello@abiolachamp.com.
There's a lady that will be waiting on the other side to respond to you. Her name is Priska. So just send it to her, hello@abiolachamp.com.
Okay. So it's not hello Priska.
Okay.
So some other details of and then there's a phone number on that flyer on your screen. You can also if you can you just screen grab it? And that email address is also right there. The phone number is there. The people who are speaking, speak to them? Who are these?
Yes, so we were having the privilege of hosting a Harvard professor, Professor Dana Bourne, whose specialty is authentic leadership. So she will be sharing insights with us. We'll also be hosting Dr. Mosun Bello Olusoga, a senior corporate leader, mentor to CEOs and to directors. We'll also be sharing some insights with the leaders that will be in attendance on how to deliver excellence even in this century, and of course, then yours truly will be facilitating as well. And I'll be sharing insights with leaders on how to apply emotional intelligence for both personal and corporate leadership.
Well, that's a good one. We have to thank you very much, Dr. Salami, for being here.
Thank you.
Leadership is a sore topic and one of those. Why are you laughing? Because I actually have okay, we have just a minute. I actually have a thing in my head about leadership in the next 10 years. The 20-year-old is going to be 30. The 30-year-old will be 40. Are they positioned for leadership and all those things? Maybe you're going to have a distilled version of this.
So we have interventions. We have interventions for that demography that we execute locally.
They will talk to Priska as
yes,
well.
they can talk to Priska as well.
And the email, where you send your message to is hello@abiolachamp.com. hello@abiolachamp.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Sunrise will be right back with another interesting conversation. Make sure you stay with us.